Guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel, guys. I know I haven't posted in a while. College started back up. I got super busy. It's been a process, all right? Going through some stuff. But we are here with the first episode 0, one might say, all right? The beginnings of this podcast that we are doing with your favorite comic creators and about the stuff that you guys want to hear about and just how to get into comic books and things like that. So this is a special episode. I'm with my boy Trippy and my boy Loco here. They are fantastic. I love them both. Shoot them both a follow. I'll have everyone who's mentioned in this video, all their names down in the description. So go check them out. Thank you guys for all the love and support. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And let us know what we should name it because we don't have a name for it yet. So drop that in the description down below. Again, love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, so I guess since I'm filming this now, this will be episode 1 of an unnamed podcast. We'll let everyone else decide. You guys have to decide what the podcast name is, what these discussion videos will be called. Do you want to run your socials real fast?
Absolutely. You can catch me at Trippy Guy Tyson on TikTok. Do I have any other socials at this moment in time? No, I really don't. I turned off my Instagram, so just follow me on TikTok at Trippy Guy Tyson.
Y'all heard the man. I probably go live with you. I don't go live as often as a lot of other people do, but I think you and I are usually in the same lives. At least
almost all the time.
Yeah.
For the most part, we're friends with the same people on TikTok.
Which is like the best community on Comic Talk.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I miss Navajo going live with us. I haven't been live with him in a while.
Navajo is I don't know where he's been.
I think
I don't know where.
he didn't get banned or something, but he was doing big lives he was with like Straw Hat Goofy and King Lion. But I go live with Joy all the time. I know you do too. I mean,
yeah, all the time. DC the God. I've been on live with Andrew a couple of times, not very often, but a couple of times.
Andrew's who I go live with probably the most, I would say.
Yeah, no, Andrew's definitely live the most.
When Bullseye joins or Comics Dad, those two, in and out.
You know who I miss, or I don't necessarily miss? I just haven't seen him in a while.
That's who?
Comic Detective.
Where has he been?
No clue where Comic Detective's been. It's so weird seeing old ass Comics Dad by himself, being old on the internet. It's like, damn, where's his partner in elderliness?
Well, and you gotta give it to them though. They know their stuff.
Hey, Comics Dad does know a lot of things, but he also knows nothing all at the same time.
What do you mean?
So, me and Comics Dad have this dynamic where I'm aware that he reads comic books, but I think his forehead is too big for him to truly absorb any of the things that happen in comic books. So I routinely tell him that he knows absolutely nothing, and he's always lying. Anytime he's on live, that man's lying. But he's a great guy. No, fantastic.
Yeah. Love the community here. Yeah, because so the big thing that people are waiting for is they're asking how to read comic books, things for beginners, things like that. So my question for you, I guess, is what first got you into superheroes? We'll say first.
What first got me into superheroes? My first introduction to superheroes probably... Let me think. Let me rack my brain. What was I doing, or who was my first introduction to superheroes? I guess you could say that like He-Man and Thundercats were my first introduction to heroes.
I think He-Man's the most underrated fictional character.
No, he's pretty broken, no cap.
Oh yeah, have you seen the newest series on Netflix?
Yeah,
I watched it all. Mark Hamill as Skeletor was lit.
It was fire, no cap. It was really good actually.
And it's the guy.
There's also a crossover comic where Swamp Thing is able to transfer to the He-Man dimension or whatever. He's able to take the Justice League there.
Yeah, it was an Injustice tie-in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Benny Comic Historian covered that, and I watched his video on it.
Yeah, Superman gets stabbed through the chest by He-Man.
Oh yeah, what's the guy from? Did you ever watch Supergirl?
No, I didn't.
The guy who plays a Daxamite in that show, I forget his name. He's He-Man. I thought it was awesome.
I didn't even peep that.
He was a great.
But yeah, those are my introductions to heroes. What got me into comic books? I didn't start reading comic books until adulthood, like the books. I was into the animated series and stuff like that, but I didn't start reading physical books until I was an adult. Really, within the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so how did you? Okay, so that's a perfect example then. So with comics now, obviously like way back when it was super easy to get into comic books because Batman was on issue 7 and Spider-Man was on issue 3. You know what I mean? And then as time progresses, it's now no longer what issue they're on almost. It's like what volume they're on.
Absolutely.
So for you, how did you figure out where to start? Like what's your tip for how to start getting into comics in like a safe spot? Because obviously you can't learn all of the beginning right away. You know what I mean?
So the internet was very much my friend. What I did was I found a character that I fell in love with, or I liked the aesthetic for, I liked the power set of, and that was like just I was just in passing watching like Justice League Unlimited and things like that. So I ran into Swamp Thing and I was like, oh, so I wonder what the best run of this is. So I literally Googled that. What's the best run of Swamp Thing? And effectively what popped up was the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing, which is a defining run for his character. It defines his character. It changed his origin story from what it previously was when Lynn Weiss wrote it to what it is now universally accepted as what Alan Moore has written. And I'm saying this to say to give you this. A lot of the times what's most like what the consensus best run is usually the run that most fleshes out the person's character and their origin story, where they come from and things like that. That's like a good 90% of the time. Most heroes' best run is the one where they're explaining who they are and why they're doing what they're doing.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Google is your fucking friend. Like, find a character you love and literally just use Google, honestly.
So what would you say are your, besides, you've established the Swamp Thing is your favorite here. We see the Swamp Thing profile picture here. What are 3 other characters that you have read and you're like, I've read these stories? Or I guess even if it's like, or superhero teams, so like if you've read like a JLA story or something like that.
So I am a huge Diana fan. Wonder Woman. I'm like, she's my second favorite hero, period. Third, I gotta come up with 3 more. So I'm trying to decide if I like Hawkman more than I like fucking Moon Knight.
See, so there's Diana is usually a superhero that people know, but not necessarily like a second favorite. She's usually either your favorite or she's not in your top 3.
Yeah.
And Hawkman is normally like no one's favorite. For some reason, I think the person that likes Hawkman the most is Jeff Johns.
Exactly. No. Take my shoes off right now. Yeah, I love Hawkman. I love the metaphor for. What did I just say? Goodbye. Take my shoes back in the room. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about that. Had to deal with a child. Yeah, girl. All right. So yeah, Hawkman. Yeah, Jeff Johns effectively is one of the few people outside of me who loves Hawkman, and the reason I love Hawkman is because of the new 52 Hawkman story, where effectively him and Hawkwoman or Hawkgirl they're on their last life effectively, and they explain and they flesh out why they get the chances to come back to life, why they were put in this predicament. They flesh out the origin story. So yeah, that's why I love Hawkman, is the metaphor about their love and how their love is really not the beginning to anything. Because when you think about love in most traditional senses, you think like when it sparks, it's the beginning to a new chapter, and love for them marks the end of their book. Because when they acknowledge their true love for each other, they are soon to die.
Yeah, they're destined to die right away. Yeah, or soon, I guess after.
Yeah. So I always love the beauty of that aspect that Arthur is longing for this companion, but the missing piece to his puzzle quite literally is a piece to his death as well.
So since Jeff Johns is basically in charge of DC Comics. Like he front runs all the big events and things like that. Since
Absolutely.
Hawkman was basically absent from Rebirth. And then did you like how Jeff Johns tied his origin, all those things into Dark Knight's Metal and Death Metal and reworked it?
Yeah, it was beautiful. Making Nth Metal as important as it was and throughout that run was just really smart. And I'm an obscure character fan. Like I love obscure characters, characters that people aren't very fond of or don't know much about. I'm a huge Atom fan. Like aside from this,
Like
who is
the
also
Atom
a
or
really
Captain Atom?
the Atom.
Okay, so Ray Palmer. The
Yeah,
shrinking one for anyone
Ryan
who doesn't know.
Choi. Ryan
Oh,
Choi more than Ray, but yeah,
okay. The student.
yeah, for sure. He's in my opinion he's better than Ray in a bunch of areas.
He's essentially Scott Lang to Hank Pym's Ant-Man, for anyone who doesn't know. If
Yeah,
anyone
it
compares them.
absolutely. Fuck Hank Pym. Just want to say that on the air one time. Fuck Hank Pym. Um, but yeah, I sorry, yeah. The way that they implemented Nth Metal and made it such a pillar of that run, yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I love that Barbados is like the dragon, or Barbados is the dragon. Excuse me. One of the dragons in the death metal verse is quite literally Hawkman, who's like a huge hawk monster, and it's fire
Yeah.
because he can also call on that hawk monster thing when. So he has this like hack in this New 52 run, and they never explain if he's lost the hack or if he just doesn't use it. Actually, they do explain. The reason he never uses it is because at the end of the New 52 run, that is supposed to be his last life, so he shouldn't be able to do it. But what he can do is he can call on any life from his past, like all of the beings, all of the iterations of himself. He can call on those to aid him in battle effectively. So he like pulled that dragon from the dark multiverse. He pulled a Kryptonian version of himself. He pulled a Daxamite version of himself, a Rainian version of himself. Like the panel has like over like 600 different Hawkmen that he summons
Huh.
to help him fight. Yeah. So I went on a small tangent about how cool Hawkman is, but
Hey, show Hawkman some love. I mean, he had. So, do you like how they did him dirty, kind of, in the Justice League TV show?
no, I didn't. I did not.
Because you thought it was going to be in the Twilight episodes. You thought it was going to be the general guy. You thought they were making him Hawkman for some reason.
Yep.
And then in Unlimited, they bring Carter Hall in, and he appears like twice or 3 times.
Yeah. He's not a pillar. Hawkwoman or Hawkgirl. I forget which one it is.
I think it's Hawk Girl because that's Shaira.
Yeah, Hawkgirl is the more prominent Justice League member in most people's opinion. Not to me though.
Well, currently she is on the team. She's on the main Justice League team.
Yeah.
But if you watch
great,
a lot of the animated stuff, right? Like Hawkman, like in The Batman, he's on the Justice League there. He's in the Batman Superman Public Enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in one other Justice League moment. He's also like in Super Friends. And Hawkman had an episode or something. He had a.
I don't think I've seen it, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's also about to be in the Black Adam film.
Yes, and then there's that too. Because he was also in Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Poorly done, one might say, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely very bad. But it's okay. As long as he gets some shine.
Right.
I hope, not even gonna say I think, I hope, because this is the only one that makes a lot of sense, unless they just casted a black person to be him. I hope this iteration of Hawkman, or this life of Hawkman that they're using in the Black Adam film, is Prince Khufu, who is like one of his very first lives. He's an Egyptian. He's the one who first encounters Nth Metal that changes Arthur.
So you think he's just that old in the film?
I just think because they cast a black man, and like I'm genuinely hoping because they cast the Hawkman as a black guy, that they're going to use the Egyptian version as the base version for this film.
And maybe that's why Hawkman's in this film as opposed to a different JSA character, because you got Black Adam and the Egypt and all that stuff going on.
Yeah. Hopefully they lean into that.
Yeah, all the magic and history there. Which I personally, if I had to pick, who's the villain for the film? Do we know?
I don't know who the villain for the film is. I think this is going to be more of a decision film, right? Like,
yeah,
he's going to be deciding whether or not to be an anti-hero or a villain.
Which I personally have never liked the whole Black Adam as a hero thing. I thought he was cooler as a villain.
So I like the juxtaposition of him as well, okay, so they don't necessarily have to, because they do this with Doom. They don't necessarily have to paint him as a hero, but make sure his people love him.
Exactly,
and they do.
Doom treatment. Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's what I mean, I suppose, when I say villain. He doesn't necessarily go out and partake in the Legion of Doom stuff, but he will go out there and do whatever he's got to do, which might seem villainous in order to then please his people, or steal something for whatever. Sure, yeah, but
or just putting his people above other people could put you in a villainous light in some people's eyes, right? Like,
true, yeah.
because a lot of heroes believe that like we got to save everybody, right? And Black Adam is very much Doctor
Same with
Doom
like
is very
Namor,
much
though.
I'm about my people.
Well, and that's what's crazy is Black Adam and Doctor Doom get like the bad connotations for that, but Aquaman's the same way if you think about it.
No, he
Aquaman
absolutely
is 100% that way, and I would argue that if there was to be a villain for this film, it should be Vandal Savage.
Well, that would be dope.
Right.
My only problem is, they could do it because Vandal's so smart. They could like every time that Black Adam is about. Because I think in my head I was like, so what stops Black Adam from just punching a hole through Vandal Savage? I mean, not that he would die, but like he can't beat him in a 1-on-1 fight.
Right.
But then I thought about it. I was like, Vandal is an insane tactician, so he could just be fucking with him for like 90% of the film.
He's just
playing with him. Putting him in positions that he doesn't want to be in, and then we could kind of go through like a checks and balances. Not checks and balances, kind of like a what the fuck is that called? Checkpoint system, right? But like Vandal is always there as we go through the checkpoints.
Well, and I'd argue that maybe you don't even know it's Vandal the whole time. Maybe at the end we realize that the group, because it looks like they're soldiers and these things, the group, like the person that's leading all these people is Vandal, and that's the reveal to us at the end. Because maybe it's Vandal and like Ra's al Ghul, like an Immortal Men type of. Obviously Black Adam being an immortal as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being like, them trying to get Black Adam to join this group or something like that. I feel like that would really play on the whole, I guess, the juxtaposition of good and evil. And look who just joined, ladies and gentlemen.
Is Loco. What up? How you doing, my boy?
Loco.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything. I apologize if I am.
No, we are currently filming an episode for what I'm going to post to YouTube as like a podcast.
Oh, nice.
So, actually, if you want to hop in on this question, I guess the original question is, what kind of got you into comics, and how did you start? Because, like I was saying earlier, there's so much history, right? With DC, there's 3 or 4 different reboots and crises, and Marvel, there's 3 different Secret Wars. Where does one start? Things like that. So, how did you get into comics? Because you have slabs, you have collections that triple mine. Quadruple mine, so
I'm waiting for those to come in. I'm getting my first slabs. I was hoping they'd be in today. They weren't here.
Slab is a graded comic for anyone who doesn't know. Graded comics are in plastic cases, and they're thick, so they're called slabs.
So what got me into comics was I'm a product of the 90s. So I was born in the early 90s, and I was getting home after school and watching the X-Men or Spider-Man or Batman the Animated Series. And I was in a small town. That's where I grew up, in a very small town. And there was a little store, kind of like what we would call like a Family Dollar or something. Okay. And it had a little collection of comic books, and it was the original first 5 issues of the Avengers. And the other one was a Thor book that I cannot remember for the life of me what it was in there. I read those, and after that, it was just over for me. Like, I loved comics. I took a long time off. I took about 15 years off of collecting. And it was when I got back onto TikTok, and I started finding content creators who were big into it, and I was like, oh, okay, people actually do read. It's not just me. And that's where I kind of just hyped it up and just started reading like crazy again and getting into them.
I think that's a very similar story to what a lot of people have. It's and the biggest one I've heard is, and you two, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the number one thing that I've heard from people telling their personal stories, what got them into comics, is specifically them dropping Batman the Animated Series.
That was, oh man, don't even.
Was that not probably like the biggest influencer for this generation of comic people?
So you got to remember, around the same time, it was Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, and Spider-Man the Animated Series. And we're sleeping on Superman the Animated Series, the Justice League. So there was so much good animation.
Because that was my generation. I'm younger than you guys. I was born in 2002, so technically...
Oh my God.
Wait a minute, casual. How old do you think I am?
Are you... Well, I'm only 20, so you're older than me, though.
I'm older.
Oh
than
yeah, I'm
you.
23. I thought you were
Yeah.
trying to call me old on the low. I was like, I
No,
might
no,
not
no.
let
But
No,
like, I'm just saying,
no.
like, yeah, from me, like, the first Spider-Man film came out in 2001, or I guess maybe it came out in 2002, but it was filmed 2001, right? So like, if you remember, like the old thing about the original poster had the Twin Towers in it, right? Like that generation, I came out after Superman and Batman the Animated Series ended, even after the Adventures of Batman and Robin ended. Justice League was airing when I was a kid. Teen Titans,
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond was over, but all those shows were so popular that they were rerunning. That's why I think I lean so heavily DC, is because those shows were so much more popular than the Marvel ones.
That makes sense.
Say it again. Say it again.
That they reran them all the time on Kids WB, on Cartoon Network, on a million different channels. That's what I absorbed. And I remember the story that I probably told the story like 5-6 times on TikTok, but what got me into Batman being my favorite superhero is obviously as a child you see Superman and you're like, Superman's the coolest thing ever, okay? And like my father gave me like a Superman like, kind of, I guess, stuffed animal kind of thing one time. But when I was a kid, he gave my brother and I these superhero blankets, and one was Batman, one was Superman. He gave my brother Superman, and I got the Batman one. And I was like, dude, I don't want Batman. Batman's a lame. He doesn't even have superpowers. I was like, Superman's got all these superpowers. What? And he goes, he's trying to convince a child. When you're trying to convince a child something is cool, you know what I mean? You kind of start giving them a little like, well, dude, But he gives me a little talk. He's like, well, but think about why Batman's the coolest superhero. And I was like, okay, why is Batman the coolest superhero? He goes, because he's a part of the Justice League, and I'm like, and what? And he goes, and he doesn't even have superpowers. That, like, just him wording it differently. I literally just said that. I was like, Batman doesn't even have superpowers. He's not cool. And he just reworded the sentence. He's on the Justice League, and he doesn't even have superpowers. That's what, like, sent me over the edge as a kid. I was like, he's friends with Superman and the Green Lantern and Aquaman, and he doesn't even have superpowers? Those guys suck. Like, Batman beats everybody. What? I was one of those kids.
That's the only argument I need, Sean.
You're out of your mind. There is no way that LeBron will ever beat Jordan. Nobody will ever beat Jordan, okay?
Okay, LeBron's a better rebounder and passer.
Will you let me finish? Can you let me finish? Call me when LeBron has 6 championships.
Is that your only argument?
It's the only argument I need, Sean!
Well, when it comes to Batman, dude, I actually love Batman. So if you look at what I probably read more of than probably just about any other character that I've picked up, it's still Batman. And that's me having an obsession with 2 specific characters right now where I pick up and read everything I can of them. And it's still just so much wider of a gap.
Because for you, it's Hulk and Batman, right?
I am Hulk and Hercules, dude.
Oh, Hercules right now, yes.
He's a Brute fan. He's fans of the Brutes.
I am, but I also like Aquaman.
You know what? Have you read Becoming Aquaman?
I haven't, dude.
It's really good, actually.
What really brought me back to Aquaman? So I know we all got the joke. Somebody the other day in one of the comment sections was talking about the harpoon hand, which I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
But it was this Jeff Johns Aquaman omnibus that I picked up, and I haven't read anything in a single sitting in a very, very long time. This was a single sitting read. It's 800 pages, so it's
digestible. The omnibus was a single sitting for you?
Yes.
Guys, if you don't know, an omnibus,
it must have been riveting.
An omnibus is a thick collection of every single work from a run. So it's the entire collection instead of single issues. It's a big book just of all of it.
I have the Bronze Age one for Swamp Thing.
Nice.
And they're expensive. They're like $80, $90 on the low end.
Is it the Absolute or is it the Omni?
I think I have the Omni. Hold on.
Absolutes have all the tie-ins and the one-shots.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. No, it's definitely not that. It's not the Absolute.
Anything that mentions that hero from that age, it'll also be.
When it comes to this Aquaman omnibus by Jeff Johns, okay, Jeff Johns to me is arguably the greatest comic book writer of all time.
I second that.
And you pair him up.
I agree and disagree.
No, it's debatable. It's not like, oh, this is an absolute. It's to me.
Yeah, I have him top 3. I just don't have him. Yeah. I have Alan Moore at 1, but for obvious reasons.
But Alan Moore is also.
Alan Moore's phenomenal.
Wicked,
So there's nothing wrong with going that route. That's why I said arguably he's the greatest comic book writer of all time, just because of the amazing work he's put out.
Mm-hmm.
Now you throw in Ivan Rice as the artist on the first half of this book, and the artwork. I think it's Rice, maybe it's Reese. It is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, each page has so much detail on top of good storytelling and writing. I was just You said riveting. It was, to me. It was absolutely riveting. I didn't want to put it down. I'm over here saying I don't want to put down Aquaman. After this, hey, I'm sold on Aquaman.
Feel that. I can't say that I fully agree, but I know that feeling, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day, for the first, not to divulge the conversation from comic books, but the other day I was just bored, and I picked up I got on the internet and started reading Narnia again. I read the whole book in one sitting.
Narnia is legit though. Narnia's underrated.
Very.
I don't read though, just the movies.
Comic books. I think that's what makes comic books so different than manga. Because manga, you do have the one artist, the one author, so they could play the long game. So I'm a One Piece fan. I know Trippy's not a big One Piece fan, but to me,
I'm a vicious One Piece hater, Loco.
Okay, so
The
I'm
One
usually
Piece.
not a fan here. So, but when you look at it, Oda's played this long game over 20 years or so, 2 decades.
It's all prequel.
Apparently, it's all prequel. All of it was filler, non-canon stuff until now.
That's so funny.
Isn't that wicked? It's over 1,000 chapters, and it's all the prelude. It's literally the prelude to the book.
Hey, and you know what? I'm cool with it because it's been a phenomenal journey. But
I've heard a couple of One Piece fans say that exact same thing.
What the comic book was so cool about it is I'm talking about Ivan Rice, and in the same omnibus, about halfway through, it changes artist, and I could tell the difference in the storytelling and technique. So you might not like a run by a specific artist or writer, but you pick up a different one, and it could be some of the best material you've ever read. Stanley writing X-Men, no thank you. Claremont, give it to me any day.
Agreed. I absolutely agree.
And that's also a big thing for like across the whole of either like DC or Marvel. Because if you think about like we had this discussion the other day, Loco, the New 52, for the most part was pretty trash. There was a bunch of the New 52. That's the reason the reboot only lasted 5 years.
Hold on.
See, and I come on here and I've been praising New 52 because that's the Aquaman I'm referring to. That's New 52.
Well, yeah.
I like a lot of the New 52.
I did too. I'm using it as an example because of the discussion we had yesterday. Basically, that's the reason the New 52 was kind of canned though, is because as a whole, like there were a bunch of amazing things that came from it. Aquaman being one of them. I'd argue the most successful thing from the New 52 was Batman, because of Scott Snyder, because that directly led into your metal event, which created one of the most overhyped, overextended characters of all time, the Batman Who Laughs, because they put him in every single issue they could possibly squeeze him into. But that's the same type of thing where it's like artists grab things and let things go and things like that. I guess to stick with the Jeff Johns example, they toss Jeff Johns on the Flash, and then you get Flash Rebirth, and Barry Allen's back, and now the Speed Force is a thing, and then they toss Jeff Johns in Green Lantern, and now the Sinestro Cold War, and now there's all these spectrums and things, and then you get like the Blackest Night, and then you toss Jeff Johns in on the JLA, and the JLA is suddenly relevant again and wicked, and then you toss Jeff Johns on Titans, and now the Titans have one of their best modern runs of all time, and then you toss Jeff, when writers bounce around, it's when things are successful, and right now you have Tom King and James Tynion both writing arguably two of the best DC runs right now, coming off of some of their best DC runs, because Tom King wrote Injustice, and Injustice is arguably one of the most successful DC stories in the past decade. Because Injustice came out when 2012 or 2013.
So you're talking about this, and I'm remembering a conversation. I hope it's not too far off the topic because
this is a podcast. These are just thoughts for us.
Yeah. So you were talking about how you have a hard time with Marvel because it feels like the events were like too often or not often. What was it?
I don't think I had this discussion, but if I say
it wasn't you.
The consistency of a Marvel event, I'd say Marvel has team up events fairly often.
Okay, so maybe that's what your point was, and I was confusing it with something else. Because to me, I have a hard time going and getting a DC book and knowing where to start. That's why you don't see me pick up as much DC. And for Marvel, it kind of feels like, okay, I'm going to get my character and I'm going to kind of get in. But admittedly, I lean more towards Marvel. So I'm in the minority here. I'm the Marvel guy compared to you both being DC guys. But I'm also not a debater, so it doesn't really...
I would say I'm not much of a debater. I'm more of a moderator, but...
Which is fine, fine. And I'm not hating on anybody that debates because I personally enjoy the discussion and the thoughts that go into it. Yeah. So, I lean more towards Marvel because sometimes it feels like if I get that trade or the Omni, I'm completely caught up.
Trippy, do you have an LCS that you go to? Because Loco does not.
Local comic book store. I was trying to figure out what the hell you meant by
Yes,
LCS.
an LCS means a
Yes,
local comic
local
shop or store
comic
for
book
anyone who doesn't know.
store.
Bro, Loco, I thought he was asking me if I had an LLC. I was like, no, I don't currently have a business right now. But
And then Trippy, I'm not gonna lie, I thought you said Loco comic store, and I'm like, what? Like you have a crazy comic store? Like what?
Dedicated to you.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would.
oh, Loco, that should be the name of your fucking comic book store, bro. You should
Dude,
start.
I want to actually eventually start reselling. I buy a lot of single issues. I got a lot of stuff that I'll read once and I bag and board it and never look at it again. And I think the smartest way to go about the hobby is to have it pay for itself.
Have you?
Yeah, no,
been on
yeah,
Whatnot or
absolutely.
whatever?
But the answer to that, though, comic, is yes. There's a plethora. There's like probably 15 in my city.
Where are you from, if you don't mind answering?
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, so Kentucky. All right, so I'm in the middle of the Midwest, in a small town that has one game store that happens to also sell a bit of comics. It's what's unfortunate for me. And I know, Loco, you don't have any LCS, do you?
I drive 2 hours, bro, to the infamous city of where Breaking Bad was filmed. And
Albuquerque?
Yes.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen all of Breaking Bad. That was a wild guess.
Oh, I was 100% guessing too.
It's all in Albuquerque, dude. I have to drive all the way there to get to an LCS, and here's the crappy part about it. The one I went to, very cool store, dude. Like they had everything, rows of comics, well organized. The employees there were jerks. I walked in with money intending to spend on comic books. Like this was a special trip just to get comic books, including maybe a Holy Grail one. And we discussed how I'm a Hulk fan. There is the Incredible Hulk battles the Inhumans. It is a Holy Grail cover for me. Graded, it goes anywhere between 200 at a low grade all the way up to a few thousand. And I see it, and they have it way up on the shelf, and I kind of inquire about it. And the guy says, man, I'm not even going to get it down. That's like a 9.6. And I'm like, well, how much is it? He's like, it's a lot. It's fine. Okay, well, how much is a lot? He never got to the point, right? So we leave, and I'm like, phew, I need to go back because I wanted a comic book called Dual Powerbomb. It's an Image comic book. It's really excellent. There's 3 issues in. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. I go back to see if they carry it. Well, they don't, and I hear them talking smack about people that ask about the comic books up there and saying, oh, he couldn't afford it anyway. Like, how do you know what I can afford?
Dang, that's disrespectful.
So I just walk out, and my buddy happened to call me at the same time. I said, no, bro, I came into this place because I thought they would actually have comic books, but it seems like they don't really stock up on anything, so I'm not really sure they know what they're talking about. And I said it loud enough so they could hear me. Because I'm petty, but it's we've talked about this. It's a community, me and Trippy might disagree about certain characters, but at the end of the day, we get along. Like hey, you're a fellow nerd. Let's talk about it.
That's
like
what I'm saying. I don't know why
into?
People. It's already bad enough that people on the outside of a TikTok community make fun of people who like this stuff or treat people like poorly. Let alone infighting within the community and people getting butthurt because some other person said that this person beats this person. Like it's
yes. So like it's funny because Trippy uses the word. He's like, yeah, I'm multifaceted. So I like sports. Trippy likes sports. I like comics. He likes comics. We talk a little bit of anime. We talk sports, and it's so nice to find other people with this varying interest because there's not many. It's weird to me when I still see people say like, oh, you're a sports guy, but yeah, I read comic books too. Like they don't understand, and I'm like, dude, like I just want to get along with everybody. Like I want to be friends with everybody possible.
Well, yeah, it's not like comic book people also don't play video games. Like, is that a problem too? Like, can I not have movies and video games and sports? Like, is that?
Oh wait, you're a gamer guy, and you can't like comic books because all you do is play video games, bro.
Yeah.
Or what's your favorite type of video game? Like, what does it matter?
Like to break down the psychology of that, right? Though, like that's a very human thing to do, right? We formulate these boxes or we formulate these ideas about people and what they are and what they do, right? And then when they try to move out of that box in any way, shape, or form, we're shook. We're shell shocked. Like, no, that you can't do that. There's no way that you do this and that. That just it's impossible for me to conceive or understand. And it's just it's a human psyche error. Like, I don't even think people are doing it on purpose to be fucked up. It's
so.
just the centering yourself in almost everything that happens is a common human problem.
I think there's some people though too that may have had really negative experiences, and it's their defense. You know, they may have ran into people that were at one time the classic movie trope bully that, oh, I'm a bully. Oh, you read comic books, I'm shoving you in a locker. I mean, it's possible. Yeah. And they become very protective. It's the gatekeeping aspect of the community they're in, and they don't want to lose this feeling to somebody who hasn't been into it as long as them.
Well, and to even take that next step further too, like I don't just necessarily walk around the street broadcasting that I read comic books and buy comic books, because like, let's be real, it's a pretty nerdy thing to buy a bookshelf specifically for comic books, put all your pop figures, your action figures, your comics that you collect, the runs. You walk into a store and spend an hour sorting through pieces of paper. Yeah, it's pretty nerdy, but to break it down further, it's even to the extent of like the clothes you wear. Like if I wear an anime T-shirt out, and someone thinks I'm goofy for liking that show or wearing a T-shirt about it, you know what I mean? God forbid the T-shirt actually looks good or looks sick as hell.
Bro, I wore a Nami T-shirt out the other day. It's her wanted poster, and I didn't realize I was wearing it. But of course, it's Nami's wanted poster, so she's in a bikini. It's always like a glamour shot for her, and I'm like, I can't believe I just wore this shirt out into public. And it's kind of laughable, but then at the same time, it's like if there's other One Piece fans that are gonna see it, like, hey, I know that character.
Yeah, I had the Demon Slayer Hanafuda earrings in for a while, and yeah, they a little goofy, necessary a little bit, you know, to people who don't get it. Yeah, but the amount of people that were like, dude, your earrings are sick, like nice earrings, you know. Hey, Demon Slayer, like that's cool enough to me. And let alone the comments on TikTok from my own community that know what I'm talking about there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the part where it's like, we don't. You got to get to the point where you don't care anymore. Like, and people who don't try things. This is the thing I talk about. I used to bully kids for watching anime, if we're being real. Not like I hardcore bullied them, but I was like, you're weird. And it wasn't necessarily because they watched an animated show that was in Japanese. It was like I had a lot of those kids where it was like they wore the cat ears and they did the weird stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like they took it too far. Okay. But I was like, I don't want to watch the Japanese anime. I'm like, it's weird. They scream so much. They yell a lot. Like it's overly like seductive or weird.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because you're younger than me, and you're both born probably around the same time that this craze was absolutely taking off. Do you guys like Dragon Ball Z?
I've never watched it really.
Okay, Trippy. Unless you have to step away. Do you have to step away? Possibly. The reason I asked was I remember being in 3rd, 4th grade, and it was you had to go watch it after school. Everybody watched it, and it's a small town. You know, a bunch of kids are ranchers. They would rush home to watch Dragon Ball Z, so we had something to talk about at school the next day. And if you didn't talk about it, you were kind of lame.
Really?
And now I see people like arguing about, is Dragon Ball Z good? And I'm like, if you're from my age group, there's high chances that you are a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Absolutely.
I would argue that was also because it was like one of the bigger American adapted, like voiced over animes too.
Toonami was an absolute cultural phenomenon. Everybody watched Toonami. You would watch the cartoon top 5, and right after here comes Toonami, Cowboy Bebop, One Piece.
Cowboy Bebop, I guess, but I think I would argue that people weren't watching the Japanese.
No,
voice.
Everybody watched the dub. Everybody watched the dub,
and that's what turned me off from anime at first. But then my buddy, who was a huge anime guy, was like, "Dude, just give it a chance." He was watching. Have you ever seen A Silent Voice, the movie?
No, I haven't.
It's a sappy anime movie, but he started watching it, and I was just watching it, I guess too, and I found myself crying. I was like, "This is so good. There's no way." So then I gave I had watched One Punch Man because I knew it was like a gag, and I thought it was cool.
That's so goated.
I thought the animation was cool. I thought it was cool, so I didn't really count it as an anime though at the time. And I had seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, which people either want to count or don't want to count. You know, who cares?
I've never seen it.
Okay, so that's a shame, and that's a different topic. Hold on, but and then I started watching 7 Deadly Sins. That was like the first anime series that I watched,
That's solid.
And I was like, and there's plenty of weird sexual moments in that show, and plenty of like annoying voiced characters or screaming that turned me off from anime in the first place. But I loved it so much that from there I started all these other shows, and I'm in the middle of Shippuden, and I think Naruto Shippuden's one of the best pieces of fiction. I think that Naruto is probably a top 10 main character all time.
Naruto's like that. He's absolutely like that.
I agree, maybe even top 5.
I'm just getting into Naruto, and you know what, dude? That climbed so fast for me.
Yeah, it's wicked how these shows work. Because like Demon Slayer for me was immediate. Like I was like, this is boring. The training arc was so boring. I didn't get past episode 3. The second he's in the exam though, that show is wicked.
Yeah. Hunter x Hunter was a little slow for me at first, and then it took off, and I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this.
I gave up on that show, but I gotta get back into it.
So good.
You guys think it's that good?
Oh, bro. Yeah.
I think I'm at the part where they are just all like Kurapika, Gon, Killua. I think they're all about to meet up again for the first time since they left each other.
Yes.
So I'm very, very beginning still, but I was just bored. I started watching different shows.
That's actually my number 2 anime. My number 1 is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
We're watching that.
My God, Loco. You just have besides One Piece, you have phenomenal anime opinions. Why doesn't this bleed over into comics?
Hey, if you read some of the ones I like, the storytelling is actually not that bad, and it's fun from a different perspective. Like if you know I'm a history guy, and I've always loved mythology, and I've seen this with Hercules. It's probably why I would love Wonder Woman if I actually sat down and picked up Wonder Woman.
I bet you would.
It's the whole mythology aspect of these characters and seeing it played into it and seeing these flashbacks and I have to give more chances. It just I don't know where to start with a character that's been around for so long.
And that's the big thing that we've been talking about with people on my page. Huh?
What character are you saying this in reference to, Loco?
Wonder Woman. Like I know if I sat down and read her, I would probably fall in love because of the whole mythology aspect. She fights a lot of the same characters Hercules fights. Of course, I'm a Hercules fanboy, and when it comes to Wonder Woman, I just don't know where to start. Like I feel like there's so much more Wonder Woman because of who she is. Like do I actually hate the character? No, it's all for fun. I see Trippy's in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna say something here. Just
that's how I did enjoy it though.
And it's all in fun, but see the issue is people might see us interacting like that with each other and not realize, me and Trippy have interacted for the last, I've been on TikTok since January. We probably started interacting around March through somebody's lives in the comments, and we've had that interaction. We've been on lives with each other. We've had this communication, and other people don't understand that we have this. What's the word I'm looking for? Rapport with each other. That Trippy knows. I'm joking about this thing, and he's gonna give me something back, and at the end of it, we're both gonna laugh. But other people start jumping in, and they take it very serious, and it's like, not to hate on anybody if that's their main thing, because I play fantasy football and I go hardcore with it, and that's another conversation. But
so I initially had a hard time understanding people who got all up in arms over fictional characters, right?
I'm talking about Swamp Thing. The singularity.
Yeah. What the hell was I saying? What the hell was I saying though?
That I am handsome and I am 10 times more smart than you.
10 times smarter? See, even off that sentence.
I'm about to say.
Trippy, you're changing my vocabulary. I said 10 times more smart. I did not say smarter.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know if that sentence is grammatically correct.
It is, because I did not use smarter. More smarter is not proper English.
I know. I don't think 10 times more smart though. 10 times more smart even feels like grammatically incorrect.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right, but it is correct. It's like trying to say funner. It's not a thing. Or more better is not a thing. What's happening is I have 2 college degrees, and one of them is through English language writing.
That's actually
okay.
Wicked.
Excuse me, man. All I did was, create, the concept of language as a whole. But anyway, it's all right.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the point where you were confused, not confused. You were daunted by the idea of getting into a character like Wonder Woman, who's been around for 80+ years, right?
So yes,
That's
Trippy
the
was
big
talk
thing.
about
That's the big thing here.
talk about why people get so riled up about their favorite characters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was, right? So initially, I was very, I didn't understand why people were so affected when you talk bad about their favorite characters, right? And then I realized that, people fill holes with those characters. Like, if you didn't have a father figure, or you didn't have a woman that you could look up to, or something like that, they fill those with fictional characters. So it's not you're just disrespecting some 2D character. You're disrespecting the figure that I put in place of my dad, or the figure that I put in place of my aunt.
So I feel
it just took
loneliness, like you didn't have friends or this or that.
Yeah. So Trippy didn't have friends, and Swamp Thing was his only friend, and
no, actually, I grew up extremely popular. I didn't get into reading comic books until about 21, 20. I had been a huge animated comic fan.
So you're new to it. You're very new.
Yeah, I'm new to reading. I've known about these characters since I was a kid. I'm new to reading comic books.
Well, and here's my thing. This is the main thing that basically almost the episode's about here for this podcast of sorts. Again, name the podcast. Give name suggestions for this podcast in the comments, people. But anyways, with Wonder Woman being a daunting character, Wonder Woman's a fantastic example because Wonder Woman's one of the oldest comic book characters you can probably get into. In terms of and also being extremely popular with multiple titles and years and years and years of publication.
Mm-hmm.
What is your guys' suggestion? I guess my first question is do either of you have, because I was going to talk about this afterwards, so my first question is, do either of you have online comic subscriptions to either Marvel or DC?
I have Marvel Unlimited, and I'm about to get DC Infinite again because I think there's a lot of quality stuff with DC that I should be reading. Like, I heard One Bad Day is an absolutely phenomenal book.
I actually have One Bad Day. I own the Riddler one right here.
Some of my mutuals mentioned it, how great of a comic book read that is. And I'm like, you know what? I need to get in on this. And if I like them enough digitally, I think I'm going to go the digital route first. Read them. If I really like them and think they're worth it to add to my actual physical library, I'll go that route.
And that's a good thought process there.
Agreed.
And Trippy, do you have either? Are you subscribed to either right now?
So currently, I'm not subscribed to either one. I've been subscribed to both of them in the past. I'm probably gonna use a new email and steal 7 more days from DC this week. So
because I was thinking about signing up for both here too. So my follow-up. Oh,
I'm just to be really transparent. I am relatively broke. I just spent $700 in medical bills and medicine for my dog. So I'm just broke as shit right now.
No, yeah,
so we're stealing.
I'm a poor college student too. Yeah. For those of you guys who don't know, Marvel and DC basically have online comic subscriptions, and for the price of $10 a month, you can read from the catalog.
Marvel Unlimited is $9.99, and after tax, it comes out to $11.
Yeah.
DC, I think, is around similar. But on the note of Marvel, they do have a second app where you could buy the current runs. The travesty in that is they charge you cover price for digital comic books.
So if you want a digital catalog, if you have a Kindle type of thing, you like an iPad, I guess you like to read on that would probably be good for something like that.
It would be, but I mean, is it worth it paying $6 for a digital comic book that just came out? You're trying to subscribe to a run. I personally used Amazon for runs. I have the X-Men Red. I have the Black Panther run. I read the Titan Hulk run that way. I just finished. Actually, I just got my first appearance of Titan Hulk in physical, but I read them that way, and it's not so bad. And what it does is it automatically charges you when the new issue comes out. It's $3, $4, whatever it is, and it goes straight to your device. So even on your phone nowadays, you just download the Kindle app and you can do it that way.
So shit. My thought process is the question that was the official final, I guess, kind of question that was posed to me is how do you get into comics? Right? My name is Comic Casual. I told people when I started collecting comic books again, because I really just started collecting again 2-3 weeks ago, and I've already collected a ton more than I thought I was going to be doing because I love the process of it again. I said that I would explain how to start collecting, and here's my thought process on this, and then you guys let me know if you agree or disagree and how you'd go about it differently. My thought process is if you're new to comic books, first pick a character that you like. Maybe 2 characters, you know what I mean? Pick a character or like even I guess a team, right? And look up, because Trippy said this earlier, Google is free. And that's the big thing in the comic talk community. Google is free, but you can Google this. Google the best run. Like, Google a run that is popular. Google a good place to start. It's not, and there's a million articles on it. And then go to an LCS and just get the first copy of it. Or go to the library and rent it if they have it there. Right? From there,
I would even advise the people who don't have the outlet or access to a comic book store, right?
Mm-hmm.
ReadComicsOnline.com has damn near everything.
So there's a plug for you guys there too. So something like that. But read that and then determine if you like that kind of story. Because a Batman story is going to be very, very different from a Spider-Man story. Which is going to be very, very different from a Green Lantern story. Yep. And so on.
You mentioned 2 characters now that are very extremely daunting to get into. We mentioned Wonder Woman already. Another one I'm going to say is probably X-Men and Superman, because these companies rely on these characters so much. There is
8 different titles,
exponential amount of runs on each character, man. You try to go pick up X-Men, good luck pitching out the right current run. Good luck. And I love the X-Men.
Right. Oh, 100%. I was trying to get X-Men comics the other day, and I was like, where do I... And even I was looking at it, I was like, where do I want to start?
Yeah, good luck. And
I'm
even
that,
buy an omnibus. The do it. I have Age of Apocalypse. It's phenomenal. But as far... Pick your character. Research the runs a little bit. If you are a TikTok follower, like Casual or even Trippy, pop into the lives. Ask those questions. I've always seen them interact with the people in the comments fairly well. There's other comic book TikTokers that could stations on the lives, and I think the overall goal of what you're doing is you want to detoxify the community and have it to be like, yeah, you know what, you're a new reader, come in here, we'll take care of you, we'll recommend a read to you.
And Trippy and I talked about this earlier too.
Go ahead.
No, that was it. He and I were literally having this exact discussion earlier about basically all the people that are in this creator Discord server we have here, like we becoming the new, like we were talking about the 3 heads of comic book media basically, and we decided we basically were like, it's Eris Quinones / Variant Comics, it's the Comic Storian, and it's Comics Explained, and they signify 3 distinct types of things.
Yes.
On comic, I guess, media, and I want this Discord server full of creators to be the 4th one, and Variant is on the fun, lighthearted, like, here's a bunch of randomness, here's the Teenage Mutant Turtles, here's that. Comics Explained is the very deep lore, the facts, the knowledge.
Beyond Omega series that man does.
Yep. And then Comic Storian, guys, will read you the issue. He reenacts. He does the voices and everything. Like all of Injustice. If you want to know the Injustice storyline, go watch the video. Those are 3 distinct, different types of things that they do. And then the 4th pillar that I think would be what it is this community of various TikTokers doing the battles together and doing the discussions together. And this is the community side of comics.
Beautiful soliloquy.
Very. And what made me excited, I know I'm actually mutuals like probably everybody in it to begin with. And I'm seeing it grow rapidly, and I'm like, wait, I've already mutual with these people, so I know I'm on the right side of things when I'm recognizing names right away. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I mess with him, like right. I get along with this. And it makes me feel better because I took a long time off. Trippy's talking about how he only started really reading 2 years ago. And you're saying that you're barely getting back into collecting and you're just grabbing everything aside. I've been there. And it's nice because it's, there's no gatekeeping. It's like, it's not even that fake, I've been reading these for 30 years and I've only ever read them and nobody else could read them.
No, think about Comics Dad. Comics Dad has probably years on all of us, but he is literally the nicest guy when it comes to reading comics.
Yeah, that's
same with Andrew. And not calling Andrew.
Andrew's another one. Detective's another one that's always been very cordial with me, and Hey man, check out this website.
I'll put all these guys' ats in the description, by the way, for the video.
Where's Detective been?
In my fantasy league, getting ready to get stomped. That's what he's been. No, he's taking care of some personal matters, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, comics
Hope
guy.
everything's all right.
Yeah. No, from my understanding, it's all good. He's just taking a break from stuff as
well deserved.
Yeah, I think it's just like any creator, everybody takes a break for a while, and I think his presence is missed on the app for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
He's probably the
As
second
much as
most tagged
Comics
person
Dad
I've seen.
is the delusional dad of the comic TikTok community, he is the delusional uncle who keeps him in check. He's like, you're getting a little too far as your leash here. You're wilding right now, Comics Dad, and I need him to come back and do that for me. Comics Dad's been on a vicious tear.
But what's cool about them is they are adults, and they act like adults when it comes to this stuff, and it's never disrespectful. They give everybody a voice, they give a platform, they hear you out, and sometimes they will completely rip somebody to shreds in the nicest possible way.
Oh yeah.
And I am there for it. I will
the truth train
when I watch. Yes. And it's all respect, it's all in fun, understanding, hey, we're debating fictional characters, and at the end of the night, no one needs to lose their cool about it.
The three of us could have a heated debate over Swamp Thing and Hulk and Batman. We can have the most heated debate, and at the end of this, we're all gonna message each other in the Discord later about the games from tonight, and then we're all gonna hop on a live tomorrow and make fun of Joy for sucking. But
dude, Joy's team is pretty good, bro. Joy's team's pretty solid.
I just like making fun of him the most because he and I are pretty close in age, and I think he and I talk a lot about a lot of stuff. Like we'll text each other in Discord all the time about stuff.
You know what's wild to me? And I think both of you guys have like way larger accounts than me. Of course, I got 3 going. I got my sports one where I exclusively do sports. I have my comics one.
My account fucking sucks. Don't downplay yourself. My account is trash right now.
Which my comic one, I'm really grinding to get to that 1K. And I just
started.
Hold
on, do we even have each other on comic talk?
No, dude. I was trolling you the other day saying to add me, and I commented like 50 million times to add me. You never did,
bro. Because I get a million different 12-year-olds who that too.
Yeah.
Send me your username on this account.
It's Local Monkey Comics, bro.
Well, that's easy.
It's the same, almost the same logo. One of my homies designed it for me.
Do you follow yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well there you go.
I actually repost my stuff a lot too, just because it helps reach a wider audience, and I'm actually finding other people that are multifaceted who not only read comic books, but they play fantasy football. They want to be into this, so I think, hey, it's a nice way to address my niche audiences without alienating anybody. And then I just started a history one, which is completely detached from the other two because I want the organic build. So if you're a history nerd or you want help in a history class, I'm your guy because that's what I went to school for. And all right, babe. Sorry, guys, my daughter came in. But I totally forgot my point now. Sorry.
No, it was beautifully stated. Don't even worry about it. But we've gotten very far from the point of beginners and comics and things like that, which is fine because this is also a fantastic discussion either way. But to sort of close that, because that was really the premise of this podcast, and then I basically just have one more question, I guess, for the filming. But so. Like we were saying, find a character you like, or you know what? Even if you can't decide, you can't pick a character. Ask somebody else what they read.
That's what we're doing at.
Or just go pick up a random one from the library. That's my first suggestion. If you're not gonna spend money right away, your library probably has comic books. It probably has a Batman comic. It probably has a Spider-Man comic. It probably has an X-Men comic. It's probably got a bunch of random ones too. It's probably got images. It probably has a Spawn comic book. You know what I mean? Try it out. See if you like the type of storytelling, the type of environment that character's in. Because not every character's for everyone. I hate Cyclops personally. That's a character I heavily dislike. I know you do, but that's one of my characters I don't like. It's one of those things where it's all about trial and error. It's all about like stepping into unknown. Because like I said, like we established earlier, Batman is on issue because Batman has 18 different titles, Detective Comics and Batman. Batman's on issue 1027 or something. It's very daunting. Same with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's on issue 900. The Amazing Spider-Man's on issue 900 and and 6.
Or you know what? Even go get the Marvel Unlimited app. Type in your character. Find a 6-issue run, or like Devil's Reign, or
Yep.
Fantastic Four.
And you'll be confused. You're gonna be confused no matter what. But as you read more, it'll become more apparent.
Or figure out what writers you guys like. We talked about Jeff Johns. You know,
Alan Moore. Yep.
Alan Moore. You know, we could do plenty of writers. Figure out which one you like, because it's more than likely you're going to like a lot of their work.
Now, I guess if to close this part, if you had one run to suggest to somebody, each of you, from either Marvel or DC, or you could pick one of each, what is your one run? For a beginner, or for someone to get someone into something.
I like the Chip Zdarsky Spider-Man Life Story run.
Okay.
And that's, of course, Marvel. DC, I'm going to have to say Jeff Johns, Aquaman, dude. That Rebirth. Or even...
Aquaman's a good
one. The Flash Rebirth.
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns. That one is
Flash Rebirth, like the book? Like the...
Yes.
Yep, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those are two, again, fantastic suggestions. Jeff Johns from DC, again, carrying. And Aquaman's easy, too, because Aquaman has a movie, too. So if you don't know Aquaman very well, watch the movie. You know, that helps. That definitely helps. Obviously, I feel like most people know Spider-Man, but... Trippy, what are your 2 runs? If he's here.
He might have stepped away.
Me, personally, I would go... in Marvel, again, Marvel's a little more difficult for me because I can't find a thing where I'm like, oh, this is like the greatest thing ever. I would just say, you know what? Honestly, for most characters, I would go with like maybe like a superior Spider-Man, because that's kind of a cool concept to me. However, that's a very later on Spider-Man story. So for now, I'm just gonna stick with my one answer from DC. I'm gonna say read the New 52 Batman. Start with.
Sorry about that. My mother called me about a pot roast.
Oh, it's all good. Start with Batman, Court of Owls from the New 52, and then go from there. If I had to suggest one run, Trippy, if you had to suggest one run from either Marvel or DC, or you could do one from either, to suggest to someone to start to get them into either a character or a team or a series, what are your suggestions?
So I get 2 suggestions, is what I'm hearing.
You can do one from either company, or I guess 2 from the same. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not giving any opinion on that bullshit over there on the other side. Obviously, the Saga of Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. It's an origin story, effectively. It's 170 chapters long. In my opinion, arguably the greatest comic book ever written.
And it sold 1 issue. And that was
That's a lie. That's just a vicious lie.
Just him.
Just him. He's the only one to buy it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then number 2. Oh, shit. Read Sideways. It's a kind of a spin-off.
Oh.
It's this, because this will just build your love for, like, street-tier merc with a mouth type characters without you having to get into the daunting task of getting into Deadpool or getting into Spider-Man, who have huge catalogs.
Yes.
Sideways is, I don't know if I'm supposed to give, like, a breakdown of what the character is and what he does.
Sideways is a very obscure character, so go for it.
Okay. So think think Spider-Man in terms of, like, teenage boy who gets blessed with powers, doesn't know how to, his ongoing battle is how to balance his personal life with his powers and shit like that. But his power set is dimensional rift like manipulation. Effectively, he can open rifts and see to other places. He's connected to the multiverse, so anytime a rip happens, he's alerted. He can transport himself anywhere in the DC multiverse. He's extremely broken, and the comic is very not necessarily fast paced, but it's very fun. It's extremely enjoyable. So I suggest Sideways. I think it's about 14 issues long. But
Sideways was very, very, like, there was a lot of behind him when they announced that, and they kind of showed him off, and everyone was like, oh, he's very Spider-Man related, sort of similar. I remember that. You saying that too. Also, I guess my second pick, my first pick was Batman, The Court of Owls. I don't know if you heard me. But my second one is actually going to be from neither. I would say, I'm just starting it now too, personally. Spawn.
Oh yeah.
Spawn is neither DC nor Marvel. It's Image. It's fantastic so far. I'm at its own independent thing. So again, if you want to get into something like that, that's good. You could say the same thing for like Invincible and as well, or like the original Watchmen comics, because they were not a part of DC and now they are, but that doesn't change the original story. But those are fantastic. All these are fantastic suggestions, I think, for beginners to get into, just for stories to try. Like I said, go to an LCS, pick it up. I think all three of us are on the consensus, and most people in our server are of trying to avoid buying things from Amazon, because Amazon sucks. I use it to keep track of things in my cart to then go buy and then delete from my cart.
Dude, I ordered Book of Doom from Amazon, and it's before. Yeah, I barely just started getting Omnis, and I was like, oh, she's coming good, and the book was basically destroyed. So there's like cheap graphic novels, InStockTrades.com, and a few others that I know creators like Longbox or Cody Collects can actually steer you in the correct direction, because their omnibus collections are insane.
Yeah, I again, we all try to avoid Amazon, but like I said, go to your local library and rent a book and start from there if you just want to get into comics. Go to your LCS. If you've never walked in the comic shop before, most places aren't going to give you the same bad experience that Loco had. Most people, if you ask them about comic books, are probably going to want to talk to you about it a lot. So they'll be more than helpful, I guarantee it. Or comment on any of our posts. Spam us in a live stream. If we're not seeing your comments, spam it. Hey, what's a good story to start with? What's a good story to start reading? I've only read Spider-Man so far. What's another story to start reading? I guarantee it'll be a good thing for you guys. So my last question to you two is coming from my Discord server, a casual Discord, and it is just someone asking a random question. So I just want your guys' quick answer. It's basically a Bat Family question between Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood versus Red Robin, so Tim, Damian, and Batman Beyond, Terry.
Terry?
I guess that's the fight. So Dick,
they threw in a fucking monkey wrench with Terry.
Yep. So Dick, Barbara, and Jason versus Tim, Damian, and Terry.
Is it a fight?
It's a fight.
Give me the team with Terry.
That's what I mean. He said, "Yeah, who's walking out of their lives?" Is the question.
Give me the team with Terry.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Give me Red Hood and them.
Oh, okay. Wait. Each you say why, and then I'll give my answer to break it.
So the reason I think give me Red Hood and them, in my opinion, in the hierarchy of fighters in the Bat Family, right? Mm-hmm. It goes it's Cassandra is number one in my opinion. Then it's Bruce, then it's Dick and Jason. Damian and his 5. I think they have 2 of the best fighters in the Bat Family, and I think they're smart enough as a collective to eventually get around Terry's tech.
Okay. And for the sake of it, I think we should go with like Terry at his level in the show, as opposed to like aged up Terry with a ton of experience in the comic, because I feel like that'd be a little too OP.
I mean, Prince Damien put pause on aged up Terry though with no suit, so for real.
Well, he would be older, and at that point, because I would argue with your point there that Damien's 5. I think that the only thing that's keeping Damien from honestly like a 2 slot under Cassandra. And I think the reason that I put Bruce above her almost to an extent because of their size. Like Damien's not full size yet. Neither is Cassandra.
Yeah,
she's still and you know what I mean. So I think Damien, when he hits Bruce's age, is going to be a threat to every fighter. The fighter, he would be the fighter. You know what I mean? Because he was modified and edited from birth or whatever, and trained from birth too.
Yeah, he's genetically impaired.
But
not impaired, amped. Excuse me.
Yes.
Genetically impaired.
But Loco, why do you say Terry's team then?
For one, Terry is my favorite version of Batman of all time. I
pretty wicked.
Absolutely love Batman Beyond. He's wicked. And for the opposite reason of Trippy, so I know Trippy's making a very valid point about them getting around the tech. I think the tech's enough to put them down fast enough before they could figure it out.
Interesting. You don't think that? So you think that Terry's carrying? You don't think Tim and Damian are the reason this team is winning?
I actually like Damian, but my whole mind just goes straight to him, and I'm that biased towards Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond, dude.
I would agree.
Jason's also got some unconventional or unconventional, gadgets as well. Like he might just shoot them.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. And when it comes to that, that's just seeing how good. how good Terry is, and now we're bringing in these other characters. Of I think it kind of because he has Damien on his side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Damien.
Damien's no pushover.
Nah, he's not.
No.
I mean, even though when he fights any of them like seriously, they fuck him up when they're not holding back. But yeah, I agree. Damien's no slouch.
You know, so it's gonna at least occupy everybody for long enough to allow Terry to get some work done, I think.
And again,
Was Cassie on either of those teams?
No, she was not. It was just those basic. I don't know. The
But
main.
in all
members
reality, dude,
plus
I am a Terry McGinnis fanboy. I've been in love with Batman Beyond since the series came out when I was a little kid, and then don't even get me started on the film, which I am completely drawing a blank on the name of.
What I loved in terms of Terry McGinnis was his relationship with Bruce.
Yeah,
it was wicked. The episode where everyone thinks Bruce is crazy, and it's like his subconscious is referring to him as Bruce. He's like, I knew I wasn't crazy because I don't call myself Bruce in my head. And Terry's like, what do you call yourself? And he smirks at him because he calls himself Batman in his head. That was so wicked.
Fucking fire.
But
didn't Damien do a short stint as Beyond, or am I tripping?
No, Tim did, I think.
Yeah, Tim was it at a point, and the only time I think the only event that sticks out in my head that Damien interacted with Terry is when he was Prince Damien and he beat the shit out of Terry.
Yeah,
I'm remembering Damien with the suit for some reason, like actually being something involved with.
Off the top of my head, Batman. I can't think of Tim of Damien in the suit.
Maybe I'm completely tripping.
But I would say an argument for the thing here is that, in my opinion, Barbara is the weakest one on this list, right? Putting her on the Jason Nightwing team would have been good if Cassie was there instead of Terry, but now that it's Terry with the tech, I feel like the Nightwing team is slacking a little bit there. However, I do think that Tim is getting wiped pretty quick too by Jason, because Jason's just gonna brutally beat Tim.
That's fair.
Let's be real. You know what I mean? Assume Barbara and Tim go at it, and that fight's a draw, or they're just fighting for a while. Jason, I think, is gonna beat Damien in this fight, and then you're talking Nightwing versus Terry in a 1-on-1. I think at the point we're taking Terry from the show, I think Nightwing has more experience. I think Nightwing's better in the fight sense, but you do have to contend with the tech and the durability of the suit that Terry's got on.
Yeah, for sure.
If you could give Barbara a chance to hack, because Barbara is a top 3 hacker, I'd say, in DC.
Absolutely.
Especially as Oracle. You give her a chance to hack the suit. You just say, let's just say they wash Tim and Damien right away, and you give her a chance to try and hack the suit. I'd give it to them at that point. But
as currently constructed, you think the tech is too much to overcome? I feel that. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a wash either way. I think it's a very close bout either way.
I'm actually going to go, but I think my answer is actually no. I think my answer is going to be Nightwing, and I think the reason is the team chemistry between Barbara, Jason, and Tim, and Dick, as opposed to Tim and Damien and Terry.
Absolutely.
Because I think this is a very team-based fight at this point, and I think that because Dick and Jason have their moments, Barbara and Jason have their moments, and then Dick and Barbara obviously have their moments.
Where's Pablo?
So I would go with the Nightwing team personally.
And down.
But again, why don't you guys tell us down below which team you guys think is taking that? Thank you both.
But I did say
what?
I did say I was extremely biased.
So
that plays a factor. Yeah.
But you guys tell us. Thank you guys both for being a part of the podcast here. You guys again are going to tell us what we're going to name it. Both of you drop your socials again here real fast.
I am at Trippy God Tyson on the top. Thanks for listening.
I am at Loco Monkey Comics on TikTok. Please give me a follow. Trying to get to that 1K, guys.
Awesome, guys. Make sure you guys are looking out for their posts. Obviously, go follow them. Join up on our lives, too. We go live together all the time. So make sure you guys are saying hi to us in there. And just guys be on the lookout for the next video. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much. And we'll see you guys all in the next video.
Butterflies in my stomach, I've been fucking retiring. But I'm back on the clock.